everybody. Welcome to Third Space Live pre-show. I'm Jody Peel, Executive Director of Third Space Life Charity, located in beautiful Kelowna. I wish I could show you the view right now, but it's so sunny I had to shut my blinds. The sunset is right in my face right now. So I had to shut my blinds, and I can't share it or you'll be blinded, but I'm so happy and filled with happiness that it's spring and it's sunny and it's hot and all the leaves are blooming. So I'm super excited to be here right now and to spend an hour with everybody. Just a reminder that this show's all about conversations and stories and ideas to help build mental wellness in our community. I'm the Executive Director of Third Space Life Charity, and I want to let you know that you can find out all about our programs and services on our website at thirdspacecanada.org, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you can also view all of these live shows, the recordings, on our YouTube channel at Third Space Charity. In a few minutes, I will be introducing our guest this evening, Karine Veldhoen. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I'll probably say it 3 different ways tonight, and I apologize, Karine. But before we begin, I want to do 2 things. I'm going to turn off, first of all, the comments for now and questions, but I'll address that more later. Okay. Sorry, all my viewers know I can't press buttons and talk at the same time. So I also have to change, there we go. What we're going to try tonight, once I introduce Karine, is we're going to do a question and answer at the end of the show. And because it's hard for me to push buttons and talk at the same time, I'm going to invite you to email me any questions or comments that you want throughout the show at jody@thirdspacecanada.org. And then I'll be able to keep my eye on my laptop and my phone at the same time, and we can try an interactive Q&A piece at the end. So this is our first time we're doing this. Let's see how it goes. So get your pen and pencil or get to jot down questions and then email us. As always, I do 2 things before each show. I, first of all, want to promote and thank Third Space Coffee, located in the landmark district of Kelowna. They have amazing coffee, and they are a social enterprise, which means that they support our charity in everything they do. And they also have amazing coffee. And overnight, after COVID-19 started, they went online, and they have online ordering and safe pickup. And they're also out and about in Kelowna, gifting different frontline workers with delicious treats and coffee. So hats off to Lonnie and Jocelyn and Destiny and Linda, who are out there doing meaningful, real community work. And please order coffee. I forgot the code. There's a special 20% off code right now, and oh my gosh, they're going to kill me. Email me or text me or ask them and they'll tell you. You can still take advantage of it. So please support them. My gratitude practice is the second thing I always do. Tonight it's short and sweet. I wanted to share a little part of my day with you. It's about team. I want to have gratitude and reflect a little bit on my experience today when our summer student care program team met for the first time. And for those of you who aren't familiar with our program, we support university students here in town by offering free supportive counseling. And the team is largely made up of graduate intern students. And it was so cool to be with them today. They inspired me, and they had so many great ideas. And it reminded me that when I was a little kid, I hated working in groups, and I always felt like I could do a better job myself. And it wasn't until my university studies that I was forced to do group work, and I learned, and it wasn't easy, it was painful, but I did eventually learn that you always get a better result as a team when you bring minds together and ideas together, and it's also just more meaningful work that way. So thank you to my team who I met with today that inspired me and got me super excited and pumped about our summer. And hats off to all of you who work in teams and are making awesome change in the world by working together. So One more reminder before we begin. This is still a relatively new show, so keep your ideas and suggestions coming. Email me at jody@thirdspacecanada.org. And don't forget to follow us so you can be up to date with future speakers. So it's about 8:01. It's time to start the show. For those of you just joining us, welcome. This is Third Space Live, a show that offers conversations, ideas, and stories about mental wellness and hope. I'm Jody Peel, Executive Director of Third Space Charity in Kelowna, British Columbia. Welcome to our evening time slot. This is a new time. We've only done it once or twice so far. It was an attempt to meet the schedules of most of our viewers, so make sure you keep your ideas and comments and feedback coming to jody@thirdspacecanada.org. Today is episode 12, and it's May 5th, 2020. And for those of you who don't know, today is Giving Tuesday. We sent out a newsletter earlier today, so if you didn't get it and you want a copy of it, email me and I'll send it to you. It's also Mental Health Awareness Week. This is something that we do within our charity every week of the year, but for those of you who don't do this regularly, maybe take a look, Google it, and find out ways that you can celebrate mental health awareness. And that's kind of why we're here, and that's what we're doing tonight. So you're celebrating it by joining us tonight as well. Today we're going to talk with guest Karine Veldhoen about exploring what matters most to your child, as well as e-learning during COVID-19. Again, quick reminder, you can learn all about our charity at thirdspacecanada.org. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can view recordings of all of these Instagram live shows on our YouTube channel, Third Space Charity. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube in the future, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we welcome comments and questions. So I'm going to talk and press buttons at the same time. No, I'm not. I lied. I'm trying. I'm inviting Karine to join us. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce her. Karine Veldhoen has her Master's of Education. She's the Chief Learning Officer at Willowstone Academy here in Kelowna. She's a creative force in education and is the founder of Learn Forward. I have the links here that I'd love to share with you because it's interesting stuff when I looked at it. There's learnforward.ca/blog, which is her blog. She loves followers, so please follow her. On Instagram, it's Learn Forward Village. And on Facebook, it's Facebook/Learn Forward Village. So learn more there. Karine is also a former education lead at Fresh Grade, another Kelowna company, and Modern Day Pilgrim. I'm excited to learn more about that. And she's also the CEO and founder of, is it Niteo or Nito Africa?
Niteo.
Niteo. Okay. So you can learn about that too by checking out the website, the Learn Forward website. There's links to a lot of these things. So holy moly, you're a busy lady. I'm so glad to have you here tonight, Karine. How do I pronounce your last name?
It's Veldhoen. It's a good Dutch name of
Dutch.
my husband's.
Veldhoen. I love that. Welcome.
Thank you, Jody, for having me. I have to say I'm a little bit nervous. The sun was also shining in on me a moment ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am warm. I had to take off my jacket, and but I'm so grateful to be here with you. And thank you so much to Third Space for having me and for providing this show really focused on mental wellness for our community and far beyond that. So I'm really grateful to be here. I also want to give my own little shout out and thank you to Willowstone Academy. They're my tribe. They are the Learn Forward.
Something's glitching.
And it's the Learn Forward Lab and a place where I get to learn each day. So I'm really grateful for that. And thanks to all of you who are here watching.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you. And I did notice that something glitched during that little piece that you were talking about. So I'm not sure. I know it's not my end. So hopefully it won't continue. Do you have a bunch of people in your house streaming right now? Okay. I do. So let's make the best of it. I don't know if you heard my suggestion that we do the Q&A at the end, and people can email me at jody@thirdspacecanada.org, and then I'm going to be sharing that at the end. Yeah, let's try it. That was a last minute suggestion by you, and I'm nervous, but let's do it. Why not, right?
I love it.
I have an Instagram show out of my bedroom closet. Why not?
Well, at least your internet is working.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so we had a great meeting today to get ready for this show, and I'm going to let you add it because you are an experienced speaker and you've got so much to tell us. I'm excited about future shows with you too because there's so much we can share. So we'll do what we can do tonight, and I'm going to introduce you or invite you to start. Tell us what you're going to talk to us about tonight. Mm-hmm.
Well, my whole entire life is focused around children. And of course, that begins in some personal stories. And so I thought I might share a little bit about who I am and my own personal journey that's brought me to this age and stage and moment in time. I promise I won't do that all evening, but a few minutes.
That's the fun part, is the human to human storytelling. So we are happy to hear it. Yes.
Well, the first thing that you probably need to know about me is I am a teacher deep down in my heart. I always have been since I was a young child. And that's probably because I am the oldest child of 4 children, born in 5 years. Literally 5 years and 4 days. And I think probably some of my siblings are on this live call right now, switching up our analytics. And if they could, they'd make a ruckus.
I've got the comments off, don't worry.
I know, right? So I love being a nurturer and teaching and learning. I have a passion for literacy and emergent literacy. That's led to my work with Nateo and doing education projects in East Africa. But that personal piece around being the oldest child of 4, that really shaped me. Secondly, I am a mom. And I have 3 beautiful children. 2 are grown. Daniel is almost 24. Alyssa is 22. And they are university students doing what all university students are doing right now, resting from the end of this term and trying to figure out what summer looks like amidst COVID-19.
Absolutely.
And then I have a bonus baby who's 8. And so she is doing e-learning. And in that mummy journey, it really began in the very first moments when my son was first born. And I looked over at him in the hospital, and there was a crowd of doctors around, and I could immediately feel that there was something wrong. And he was across the room, but I could see how labored his breathing was. And he was immediately whisked away to the intensive care. And in those first moments of being a mother, I just knew that my child's frailty had opened up this cavern of my own vulnerability. And I have had the privilege of walking through that mummying journey with my special needs son who has cerebral palsy and hearing impairment, and of course my beautiful daughters as well. And our journey is intertwined, and I always say they have taught me so much more than the letters behind my name, because really it was in those very first moments all the way through where I learned about special education, became very committed to inclusion, really started exploring ideas around championing the extraordinary potential that lives within every child. And I knew in those moments that I sent my son off to school, and my daughters as well, that all you want as a mom is for those teachers to know that your child is special. and
Yeah.
that they have that extraordinary potential. So those moments and those experiences as a mom really have shaped me. And I'm a longtime mom. Like, who has the claim to fame that they sent their two girls to university and kindergarten on the same day?
That's amazing.
I know, right?
Wow. That would be
I
like
know,
me having a baby in a year or two.
right?
Wow. Yeah.
So that I'm a full everything about me as a teacher and everything about me as a mom, and so I bring that to my work.
And that's a lot.
That
A
that
lot.
is that is something for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
additionally, I had a pretty significant life breakdown in my early 30s. My marriage failed, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I went through this really painful season. And one of the things that I know I touched into is my own mental health, and how we're all the same in terms of our vulnerability, and we all share that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We all share that vulnerability. And so that painful season also taught me a few other things. It taught me about failure, and how failure is just a stepping stone on the path to mastery, on the path to achieving what we want. And so it really reshaped failure for me. It helped me know that pain is a vehicle for transformation.
Sure.
And I became less afraid. I'm less afraid today in this season because of that painful season. And I also know that in painful seasons, crisis, if you will, crystallizes purpose. And so I really had to like dig deep to find out who I was and what I was about during that time. And that all flowed into me stepping into educational leadership, and really taking some big risks as a professional and as an educator. And I was really delighted to have that opportunity at that time in my life. And so now, many years later, I'm grateful for the rebuilding. I'm grateful for my husband. I call him the builder, and he is a fantastic partner to me. And he says this one little thing, and I just want to say it maybe even twice. He says, "We're doing good." And when he whispers that to me, I'm really reassured, and I feel like, okay, it's going to be okay. And I want to say that, right? I want to say that to our audience even tonight. Like, we're doing good. We're doing good, Kelowna parents. We're doing good. I know it's not grammatically correct. I'm a teacher, but that's okay, because it's like filled with this affection. So I love that message, and I'm happy to be here. Learn Forward was born out of my journey then at Willowstone Academy, and it exists to walk alongside school leaders and cultivate vibrant school cultures. And we do that really by nourishing the sacred work of teachers and parents. And that's why, is because I am this mom, this longtime mom who has this vulnerable journey. And I am this teacher who loves teaching and learning, and loves to think about how to make that magic happen. So thanks for allowing me to tell a little bit about myself as an introduction, Jody.
Thank you for that. That sets the tone beautifully, and hopefully all the watchers will feel a little more connected to you, because those things are important. That is a huge part of what you bring to the table professionally, and what you're going to be able to share with us tonight is your personal journey. And we have some overlap in our experiences. So, and I think a lot of our watchers do too. So we all appreciate that. And thank you for sharing that. Oh, I'm getting hearts flying up the screen. People love it. So with that, the other thing I was going to add to that is that pain and hardship, the other piece that I love is someone told me once, and it stuck with me, is that pain is, you know, a painful heart is one of the most excruciating feelings we can have, especially when you love something or someone so badly, and you have to watch them suffering or going through hardship or failure. But what that does is it carves out a piece of your heart that can later be filled with more joy. And that really is my experience. I think that the other silver lining of hardship, apart from growing wisdom and learning more about yourself and getting direction and purpose, is also that deeper joy that it gives you access to. So that's the only thing I'll add to what you just said. Yeah.
It's true. Deeper joy.
So,
highlight.
Sorry, carry on.
I was just saying deeper joy and more highlights. Deeper joy and more of these.
Yeah. Sorry. I totally, yes. I'm not even, my angle isn't like that. My angle's like this. So let's jump into it. I think you were thinking of starting with talking a little bit about the e-learning experience that so many of us are experiencing right now.
Yeah, learning at home. I know that your audience probably represents a really wide range of both ages of children and school experiences, and every teacher is different within every school. But I thought I might share some of the things that we've learned in this e-learning time frame, and hopefully some of that wisdom is just an encouragement or a little nugget here or there that your audience might take with you that just helps them frame this. And it's kind of like the principal gives you permission. So I wanted to begin just by saying I understand how emotional it is to teach your own child. Even for professional educators, it is emotional. It's emotionally evocative to be on that journey with your own child. And we talk a lot about journeys in Learn Forward, and that's one of the ways that we help frame what's happening, because it's not sequential, it's not linear, it's a journey. It's organic. It takes time. Sometimes you're going forward, sometimes you're a bit lost. And so we use that idea of a journey and the most important journeys of a child to frame what kind of the nature of learning. And we want to offer that to our parent community, because during this time, it's really important to know that there's not a beginning and an end in terms of we have to get to here to take the next step. It's going to be a process, and everything on that process is good and worthy of celebration.
This is the part I'm looking forward to, because I'm going to translate your evocative word, even though this isn't the true definition, because we talked about this earlier together, that teaching your kid, in my experience, teaching your kids is super hard, and maybe harder than teachers find teaching your kid. And how I realized really early on in my parenting journey that I was not the best person to teach my kid. But now I'm lucky my kids are a bit older, but the people at home that are having to now wear the hat of teacher, it's not easy and it's not fun. And so the fact that you are going to teach us how to celebrate that is a beautiful thing, because it is hard, but there's also opportunity there, right?
it is hard. And parents aren't teachers, and yet they are the best teacher
Right.
for a child. And so I just want to celebrate the journey of that there's something beautiful happening in our homes, in the struggle, in the challenge, in the victories, in the check marks, um, in the wow, we had a dead day, we couldn't even log on,
Yeah.
or we all lost at each other, and someone ended up shouting, "You wouldn't speak to your teacher that way, would you?" I think that those experiences are very normal, and yet there's really beautiful gifts that are happening. I've been saying all throughout this entire disruption, what if every child in North America learned how to cook nutritiously for themselves and garden? Like, our world would totally change.
That's a heck of a lot more important than identifying states on a map.
Right.
Yeah. Or learning how to regulate, or learning how to connect with their parents. The list goes on, right?
Right. I had some feedback from one of our families that they were, the thing that they were learning, like, because we asked these reflective questions, and the thing that they were learning is just how to communicate with one another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how powerful is that? And solve problems. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I also want parents to really feel free to adapt and make the learning journey their own and what works for them. Um, you know, we as educators, we are putting out content or assignments, or ours is called an e-learning template each day. And whatever that looks like in your context, it's still yours. And some of what we're discovering is that place-based learning, and that's a colloquial kind of educator term, but it's just that this notion that everyone is learning within their own context. And that context is really important. And right now, it's our homes. And so what students are learning from their parents, about their parents' hobbies or expertise, about when we can play, about when and how we can play, and how to enter into hard work, and believing that we can do hard things together. These are really powerful and worthy learning experiences. And so thinking about an expansive definition of learning that includes play, that includes baking a carrot cake, or making a marshmallow catapult, which is one that my husband and daughter just completed and competed with. These are fun and filled with learning, and for young children, that's what learning is play. And Dewey told us that 110 years ago in 1910. How we think, he said, that the mind of a child is scientific and thinks like a scientist. So and I'm paraphrasing that, but that was the notion that he was getting to. So I love these expanded definitions, and I want them to be playful in your home. I want us to feel celebratory of it all, and to enjoy our children during this time.
Sounds good to me. And you know what? It's so easy for it to feel heavy and complicated and a chore, as opposed to an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I had those moments when my kids were little, realizing that teaching them to do chores can actually be fun.
Right.
Right? Because they think it's fun, depending on their age. As they get older, not so much. But when they're little, it's fun to help mom do everything. And this is a great time to teach them some more, what's that called? Life skills, right?
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. And you know, you brought up such an important piece, which is how much children, particularly young children, and Lord knows, I have so much compassion for moms and dads of young children right now.
Absolutely.
Especially when you have multiple young children, the emotional and physical strain I know is enormous. And so I don't want to minimize that. And at the same time, I'm aware of how much they want to be with us. They just want to be with us. And our attention means so much to them. And so our yearning for them and our willingness to be with them when we can, quality over quantity, is just really important. And I believe that every parent, and I want parents to hear this, you are your child's best bet. You're enough. Your yearning for them is the right thing. Follow that. And I really want parents to know that you are your child's best bet. There isn't any person more equipped or more suited or more ideal to be with your child than you. And I really want to encourage parents with that.
I feel like you could say that 100 times because that's really tough at various times in your parenting journey to believe. So that almost can be a mantra. Yeah, I have had the experience where even when you're dealing with experts in different areas of children, that at the end of the day, what I've learned is that I'm the expert in my kid. I know better than the rest of them what makes them tick, what works, what doesn't work, and how to read them, their subtleties, right? So in that same way, I guess we're also exactly what they need for that reason.
It is easy to forget.
I get that.
It is easy to forget that, right? And
especially when we're all so hard on ourselves, trying to do the best. Yeah.
So I wanted to discuss one more thing about e-learning, and this comes out of, I've met with dozens of families, parents during this COVID-19 season. I've coached them, and I've met with them over tea and virtual meetings. And one of the things that parents are telling me that they're really struggling with, and it becomes really vibrant at home when children feel really safe, is that resistant or reluctant learner.
Yes. Because this I've heard a lot from a lot of people.
Me too.
And more resistant than they are with their teachers at school.
Absolutely.
The most resistance at home.
And there's less social supports or peer models doing the right thing around them. There are more distractions potentially and more fun and play things around them in their bedrooms, on the technology. So this is hard for children, right? Their prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed yet. And so focus, attention, managing transitions, working independently, these are really big struggles. And it's easy for children to shut down during those times. And that's where we get a lot of reluctance or resistance in learning. And I want to also just encourage parents that if they're showing their true colors with you, that means that they're telling you that they feel safe with you.
Okay, that speaks to me because we talked about this about my family situation earlier today, and that I've had some really tough moments, particularly with one of my kids, and you said that to me, and it was so impactful because I have been told that in the past in other scenarios, and I needed that reminder, and I hope that everybody hears that. So say it again, maybe, so people really get this.
Yeah, when your child is showing you their true colors, and by that I mean, like all of the fireworks, it means that they feel safe. and it's truly complement the strength of your relationship. And it doesn't mean that we always
you use the
accept
word
everything,
attachment,
or we
right?
don't. Yeah.
Sorry, there's a
Yeah.
lag in
And
our connection.
And that's the strength of our relationship that we can continue to lean into during this time. And so I'm really want to encourage parents in those really emotional moments to know that it's going to be okay. And even this is worth celebrating. It's all worth celebrating.
I like that. Keep going.
Okay. So I have
I
this
think you said too that you had some resources, so that's great. We can share them later on social media.
Yeah. So I'm just holding this up. It is a handout that will be downloadable, and we can talk about that at the end, but it's a dozen ideas for resistant or reluctant learners.
And what age group is that built for? Is it any age, or?
It's going to be best for K through 12 students. There will definitely be something in this for everyone, K through 12. Now, obviously, your grade 10 through 12 students, you're playing a different role, and probably my tips and tricks in the next section will help a little more. But this particular one is going to have a little bit of something for everyone. And I think it really is focused on making the experience playful, building healthy schedules, front-loading expectations, and leaning into that attachment. So I'll give you an example.
Yes, please.
The first one is, number one is this little mantra that I have that comes from the Neufeld Institute, which is another great resource for parents, the Neufeld Institute. And Dr. Neufeld says, collect before you direct. Collect before you direct. So what that means is you want to in that learning experience with a relational experience. You want to connect with your child relationally before you direct. So when teachers in our school, for example, come to the playground and they greet all the children, and then they walk them in a very, like in a ritual, like ceremonial way, and then they greet each one as they come through the door, and then we have the morning announcements. All of those things, all of those rituals are to collect them.
I didn't realize that because I watched it for years and I didn't know there was a reason behind it.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a powerful way that we have to collect them before we can direct them in their learning. So I want to encourage families to consider that. It can be just make eye contact and smile. It can be that simple and that quick. But in my case, I have an orchid little one who's 8 years old, and she has big emotions, and she really wants to connect for a bit longer. So we have coffee and cuddles, and we have a 15-minute every morning where we all sit together and we chit chat about fun things in our world and life and experiences. So that is how we collect. So some of those rituals are really important, even before a difficult task, like let's say you need to talk about long division. Just how can we collect that child and just let them know we're there for them before we begin the hard task. So collect before you direct is one of those ways to reduce resistance. And the next thing you're going to do is solicit their good intentions. And that is in this handout, along with a dozen other ideas. I'm going to
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jody. I'm going to just read Catch Them Learning and Celebrate. It's all good news. The ups, downs, struggles, and accomplishments. Everything on your child's learning journey is good news to celebrate. I know
Okay,
it doesn't
well,
all.
we're going to work on it. I think what we spoke about earlier with one of my personal examples was that even in the hardship or the fight, we're learning to connect and respect one another and interact with each other as well. There's always something to celebrate, even if the homework doesn't get done. The fact that we're together and that we're learning how to talk to each other in a difficult moment with respect and work through a conflict, that's something to celebrate. Probably more so than the homework. So I get it. Yeah.
And
But in the
even,
moment, it's pretty hard because sometimes just you feel like you don't have anything left and it's just a negative thing. But we have to remind ourselves that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I learned in that life breakdown, and I started to really think about nourishing that sacred work, um, and how to do self-care. And I don't mean self-care like go for a pedicure,
The
although
spa. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
although I'd really
I
love
wish.
a pedicure right now. But I mean more like self-care, like journaling practices. You had a guest that was discussing that, and I
Kathy
love
Bosch.
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I know Kathy, and she's lovely. And I have practices around meditation, around reaching out for resources. Even in our own school, we have Now Take a Breath, founders of Now Take a Breath.com who have opened up all of their meditations. We just did one, balancing contentment and overwhelm as a team today.
Wow.
So please take advantage. They're designed for teachers, parents, students.
Great. So that's
Every
Willowstone Academy that they can find those
it,
resources.
at nowtakeabreath.com. So we'll get all of those too in the show notes. And we have a coach as part of our community, Heather Rawson Coaching. She's helping families and parents anchor with great rituals and habits. So these
On our
it's really helpful.
sorry, we're glitched. I'm just gonna let you, yeah. Sorry, maybe we should repeat that because I didn't catch that last piece after you started talking about Heather Rawson. That she's about, sorry, that's when it cut off. Can we repeat it?
Yeah, I think it's just really about reaching out, resourcing yourself, um, and getting with people who can support you and be a village with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also available for some coaching if people want to access that, so we can talk about that in a minute.
Sure. That'd be great. And I think, I don't know if you heard me, but Heather is joining us on the 14th. So I'm excited about her coming on the show. Yeah.
That's so great.
Maybe that's her sending a heart up the screen. I turned my comments off, but please carry on.
Well, I just wanted to offer one more strategy that's really actionable, and that's around family meetings.
Yes.
And I really feel like now is the time, if you don't have a family meeting routine or ritual, now is a great time to really start problem solving together as a family. And I have a template. I'll make that available to the audience as well. It's nest building because everything in my world is around metaphors, and particularly metaphors of trees. And so we say nest building is what we do in classrooms and in our homes to cultivate those conditions for thriving. And as part of that, we want to work together to problem solve. And so we might have a problem around, and one common problem that I hear is I need to work and my children need to do their schoolwork, but they always are interrupting me and I need solid work times. So that's a perfect issue to bring to a family meeting and say, hey guys, like we need to improve this. We need to build a schedule together that's really going to support what matters most for our family. And these are questions that I love asking as part of Learn Forward is what matters most and what's the next right thing to do. It just helps me simplify it. And sometimes the best way to nourish your sacred work is simplify things.
Yeah, having a clear framework is a great way. I use that all the time with everything I do to just keep on track and focus. So that's great.
Right.
Can you repeat it one more time?
What matters most?
Uh-huh.
And what's the next right thing to do?
Okay.
So those are kind of generic, universal questions that you could ask in any family meeting about almost any issue. And sometimes even now my adult children will repeat them back to me when I'm having like a moment. They'll be like, my son did this the other day. He like put his hand on my back and he kind of rubbed it. He's like this big hulking 24-year-old. Like, what's the next right thing to do?
Don't you love that though? It makes you angry, but you're so proud at the same time when they throw back your parenting at you and you're like, I succeeded, but they're making me mental right now. Yeah. I have a tattoo that's patience because it's one of my life lessons. And my children often, many times while I brought them up, they would point to it and say, Mom, just breathe. Remember patience. And that was like a trigger. I just wanted like, doot, doot. But it was so lovely that they were able to remember that. So I get it.
Yeah. And we all are remembering, we're all doing that together, right? That's part of that journey. And it is what matters most is doing it together.
Family meetings for us, we've been doing them forever. And I'm looking for some tips with some of the resources you're going to share with us because it's not easy to do. And we usually do it when there's a big issue that we have to do. And that was one of the questions I have for you once you get before you complete this section of our talk is, that I would assume it's probably better to have them regularly with good and bad things because then it makes it more typical or comfortable to deal with the tough stuff. But right now we're having a lot of tough dinners and a lot of family conversations because all of us or some of us have very different philosophies about what's going on in the world, what we're being asked to do with self-isolation, what rules with 17-year-old boys, what should they be allowed to do and not allowed to do. It's a lot of tough family conversations right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like trying to keep the kitchen clean is a part-time job.
Oh my goodness, yes. We've had that one too. Yeah.
Just that
chores.
Is worthy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. All the people I've spoken to are struggling with that for sure. Yeah.
So family meetings is a mechanism by which we can solve those problems together. And I like to think of the shift that I need to make. And I am telling you, it took me so long, probably until my big kids were adults, before I learned coach, not command. Mm-hmm. Because when they were little, I could control all these things. And I was pretty good at it because I was a professional teacher. And as they
it's
grew,
the short game though, isn't it? That's the short game. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect way of saying it. That's a short game. Because you have to coach, not command. And that's what family meetings is about, is listening to their solutions. Because I guarantee you could have the very best solution in the whole world. coach knows that the solution they come up with is the better solution than even what we could conceive with our wisdom. And so, and by coach, I mean like a personal coach or a professional coach, not a like athletic coach, because that would be
Yeah,
hurtful.
yeah.
So, yeah, just taking on that coaching role. And then also working through a systematic process, which I will make available in this handout, and really being intentional. And where we put attention will become our intention. So if you need attention on the issue of, I have to work, then that becomes your family's intention through the process of a family meeting. And so I love that. I love how it gives voices to everyone in the home or in the family. It's a really democratic way of problem solving. Modeling that for children as they grow and change is really important. And we have family meetings for fun things as well, to plan parties or vacations. We'll have family meetings, even sometimes just to dream dreams and as well solve problems. So I know probably your audience members have some problems they need to solve, and family meetings might be a mechanism that really serves them during this time frame and into the future.
Yeah, I love the modeling example you gave. That's such a powerful tool for them and their future families, but it also is transferable into workplace or other relationships throughout their lifetime. And to ask a lot of questions and learn how to listen and learn how to take your turn and not steamroll people. And there's so much learning in there, for sure. So, and you know what, even if someone leaves the table in a huff when it gets really heightened, the fact that you can then go back and make amends and later in the evening is also a powerful thing our families use these family meetings for. So it's endless. Mm-hmm.
That is
And
true.
agree to disagree. Agree to disagree is another good one we've learned. Yeah.
Yeah. So many great lessons, right? When we have healthy communication and we learn to solve problems. My husband calls it getting on the same page. And so
He's full of good ones, isn't he?
Yeah. So yeah. And so that's it's just helpful for us to have little mantras. We are also using right now, it's in big letters above my desk, follow curiosity. Follow curiosity. So having space and time is, this is really a creative moment, I believe, that we're in, and we can capture it. And I know my intention is to come out emotionally healthier and more ready for the change and to adapt than I was coming into this season. So part of that is following my curiosity and allowing my children to follow theirs. So I hope that this has been an encouragement to your parents and your audience. And I'm really open to specific questions that might have come in during this time.
Yeah, so let's see if this has worked. Bear with me. Turn the comments on. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I apologize. It's not working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invite our viewers to email me at jody@throughspacecanada.org and with questions or comments, and we will address those directly back to the viewers. And maybe we will figure out a way to share them with the community that attended our show tonight. And then we'll have you back again too, so we can talk about more. And that'll help guide us for future conversations based on what people are wanting to talk about or have questions about. So
brilliant.
yeah.
And Jody, if you are interested in subscribing and getting these templates, or scheduling one-to-one coaching with me, a 15-minute free one-to-one coaching, I'm just really happy to offer those resources to our Third Space audience during this COVID-19 season. So just email hello@learnforward. That's hello@learnforward.ca. hello@learnforward.ca.
Great.
And I will be so pleased to get these resources into people's hands.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Karine. That's a real opportunity. So thank you for being here. Lots of food for thought. My family meetings are going to be something to celebrate, as is my e-learning experience. So thank you for that. Sometimes you just need permission to change the tone of something, right? And that's powerful. So I appreciate that. I'm going to sign off to our viewers as well and say thank you for attending and watching, and stay tuned by following us on Instagram, Facebook, or watching all of our recorded shows on YouTube. And by all means, reach out, jody@thirdspacecanada.org. And if you have any questions or concerns or need to learn more about Karine or get connected to anything she's doing with all the various hats she wears, I'm happy to do that as well. So thank you for joining us. Take good care. Thanks again, Karine.
Thank you.